Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're jumping into Luke chapter 10. And this chapter, wow, it tackles a challenge that I think every single one of us faces. How do we balance all the things we do for God with the simple act of being with God? It's a timeless question, so let's get right into it. So let me just ask you this right up front. Are you more of a Martha, always on the move, always serving, making sure everything gets done? Or are you more of a Mary, someone who's focused on just sitting, listening, and connecting? The truth is, we need both, but as Luke 10 shows us, one is definitely the foundation for the other. All right, so the chapter kicks off with a bang. It starts with this huge call to action. I mean, this is the doing part of our faith in overdrive. Jesus isn't just sending out his inner circle of 12 apostles. He's thinking much, much bigger. He's expanding the mission. He sends out 70 disciples. Now, that number, 70, isn't random. It's actually super significant. If you go back to Genesis chapter 10, the world is described as having 70 nations. So by sending out 70 people, Jesus is making a powerful statement. He's signaling that this mission is global. It's for everyone, everywhere. And Jesus lays out the urgency right away. He says the opportunity is massive. It's like a giant field that's totally ripe for harvest. But there's a problem. There aren't enough workers. So what's his very first instruction? It's not work harder. It's not even just go. It's pray. The whole mission starts by asking the Lord of the harvest to send more people into his field. And the instructions he gives them next, wow, they're all about radical, absolute dependence on God. He tells them, look, you're going out as lambs among wolves. So he's not sugarcoating the danger. But then he says to carry nothing. No wallet, no bag, not even a spare pair of shoes. This forces them to rely completely on God to provide for their every need. It's a posture of total, unwavering trust. Okay, so you see how this is building, right? After laying out this mission of doing, Jesus shares one of the most powerful stories ever told to show what genuine faith looks like in action. It's a story that proves love isn't just a feeling, it's a verb. The whole thing starts because a religious expert, a lawyer, asks Jesus this question. And you can just feel him trying to find a loophole, right? He wants to pin down exactly who he is, and more importantly, who he isn't responsible for loving. But instead of giving him a neat little definition, Jesus tells him a story. And this just perfectly illustrates the point. A man is beaten, robbed, and left for dead. The religious professionals, a priest and a Levite, a guy who served in the temple, they both see him and walk right on by. But then, a Samaritan, who, you have to remember, was a total outcast to this Jewish audience, he becomes the hero. He doesn't just feel bad for the guy, he takes compassionate, costly, and sacrificial action. Jesus ends the story with this simple, incredibly powerful command. He basically says, stop trying to define your neighbor and just be one. Real faith means you show mercy in action to anyone who needs it, period. Okay, so we've seen the powerful call to do, but now the story shifts. The 70 disciples return from their mission, and they're buzzing. And Jesus uses this exact moment to teach them an absolutely vital lesson about the true source of their joy. And this is the being part of their faith. So the disciples come back, and they are absolutely thrilled by the power they've seen. Lord, this is amazing. But Jesus gently and firmly redirects their focus. He tells them that the real reason to celebrate isn't their power or their performance, but their relationship with God. Their joy, he teaches, should be rooted in who they are in him. And this is just so crucial. Seeing God work through us is an incredible thing, for sure, but it should never be the main source of our joy. You see, the real miracle, the unshakable foundation for all our joy, is our salvation. It's the simple, profound fact that our names are written in heaven. And all of this brings us to the final, really intimate scene of the chapter, where this whole theme of doing versus being comes into sharp, crystal clear focus in the home of two sisters. So you've got Martha. The Bible says she was cumbered, which means she was completely weighed down and distracted by all her serving. Her good intentions had actually led to anxiety and stress. Mary, on the other hand, she's fully present. She chooses to just sit at Jesus' feet and listen to what he has to say. So when Martha complains about it, Jesus tells her that only one thing is needful. And this is it. This is the one thing. The ultimate priority, the wellspring from which everything else has to flow, is our communion with him. It's the relationship. It's making a conscious choice to quiet all the noise and prioritize his presence over our own productivity. And Jesus' response here is so gentle, but it's also so clear. He's not scolding Martha for serving. He's showing her that her service had become disconnected from the source, and that's what was leading to her stress. Mary, he says, chose the source itself, that connection, that good part that can never, ever be taken away. So what's the big takeaway for us? Luke 10 isn't teaching us to choose being instead of doing. No way. It's teaching us the proper order. We are absolutely called to go, to do, to love our neighbor in real practical ways. But all of that action, all of that service, it has to flow from a secure and joyful place of simply being with Jesus. That relationship is the good part that fuels everything else. And that really leaves us with a final question to think about. In a world that just glorifies being busy, is your service for God flowing from a place of rest and intimacy with Him? Or has it, maybe like Martha's, become another source of anxiety and trouble? It's a real challenge to find that balance. But as this chapter shows us so beautifully, it's the one thing that is truly needful.